Hello and welcome to this episode of CXO Cafe, a series of learning interactions with CIOs and technology leaders on various aspects of workplace trends for the new normal. I'm Anil Chopra, VP Research and Consulting at CyberMedia Research and your host for this episode. In this episode, we're going to discuss a very important aspect of the workplace, building resilience for a future-ready workplace. Now, we all know that the pandemic has not only changed our priorities and the way we work and interact, it has also changed the way we bank. Digital banking, for instance, saw a huge uptake as people could not step out of their homes to visit their local branches. This acceleration obviously required the banks to ramp up their digital infrastructure to prepare for the sudden increase in adoption of digital banking. Now, as customers increasingly rely on this, on their bank's digital infrastructure, the bank's employees and support staff must also be ready to support them from anywhere, be it whether they are inside or outside the bank's branch. Now, we've all faced service disruptions in banking during the lockdown. Sometimes issues took longer to resolve as most of the bank's staff was working from home. So basically, how should really banks build resiliency to ensure that their workforce is able to work from anywhere? How can they really strengthen their communication network so that their service, support, and technical teams can resolve customer complaints in a timely manner? We'll discuss some of these things in today's episode, and for this, we have with us Prasanna Lohar, who is the Head of Innovation and Architecture at DCB Bank. Welcome to CXO Cafe, Prasanna. Prasanna, before we start the discussion, I'd like to give a quick introduction to DCB Bank and yourself. DCB Bank is a new generation private sector bank with 350 plus branches across 19 states and 3 union territories. The bank also has NRI business from 128 plus countries. It is a scheduled commercial bank regulated by Reserve Bank of India and professionally managed and governed. DCB Bank has contemporary technology and infrastructure, including state-of-the-art internet banking for personal as well as business banking customers. The bank's business segments include retail, SME, mid-corporate, agriculture, commodities, government, public sector, Indian banks, cooperative banks, and non-banking financial companies. Currently, the bank has about 600,000 customers. Prasanna, as I mentioned, is the Head of Innovation and Architecture at DCB Bank. He is firmly focused on innovative customer servicing, technical architecture implementation, and adoption of emerging technologies for banking. Prior to this role, he was the digital bank head for DCB, where he led various technology projects, including implementation of Aadhaar and biometric-enabled innovations, omni-channel architecture, API management, fintech startups, institutes alignment, payments innovation, DevOps, cloud computing, big data, robotic process automation, AI, IoT, and blockchain. So he has a lot of experience with a lot of emerging technologies. Welcome to CXO Cafe once again, Prasanna. It's a pleasure to have you join us today.
Thank you, Anil, for inviting me here for this discussion. Looking forward to have a very good discussion with you today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prasanna. The first question I want to ask you is that, the pandemic's outbreak had led to a sudden shift to work from home culture, and though bank branches were open as per, as banking is an essential service, customers, could not really visit their branches. What were the challenges you faced during this time to service your customers?
I think a very good question which you are talking about. During this time, I think 18 months before when we discussed about pandemic situation, I think for initial a couple of hours, I was just thinking when the Maharashtra government has announced, right, this is a pandemic and you can't visit to your offices full-fledged. There were some certain rules for branches also to operate for 4 hours, right? And ever-changing customer and digital customer adoption, which we are seeing in the last few months. How do we do that, right? So first of all, the first question came in our mind: how do we really take care of our employees? Employees who are coming, sitting on their workstations with workstation-based PCs and the infrastructure, right? And all of a sudden, they have to go back to home, work from home, laptops. How do we align that immediately within few weeks, right? That was the first challenge in front of us while we were always thinking about our customers. I think as well as liquidity management, right? How do you bring more business, more savings, currents, loan account to the bank, right? Most of the accounts we receive on the field, right? While visiting the customers within branches or outside of the branches at various events we meet, or we meet at their workplaces or homes, right? That's the story about the banking in India, which we had seen. And all of a sudden now we being asked work from home or work from wherever you are, and please serve your customer the way you were already doing it, right? So I think that these were the challenges. So considering how we take care of employees, how do we take care of customers? I think these were the initial challenges, Anil, when we had landed in the pandemic kind of a scenario. Yeah.
Yeah, Prasanna, and yeah, absolutely. How do you really get work with the customers and the employees and all would have been really a challenge. How has the situation changed the way a bank interacts with its customers now? What has been done to really kind of enable seamless interaction with your customers? Earlier, it was all site visits and field visits and all that, but now how have the interactions really changed?
I think initial 3 to 4 months has given a lot of traction for the front staff officers, right? And initial 3 to 4 months has given a lot of speed and agility to the organization. At infra level, infra team has aligned most of their infrastructure services for the employees to work from wherever they are, including contact center, developments and operations and so on. There were some exception employees who had given a facility in a secure way how they can transit to the offices, for example, reconciliation, which is a day-to-day exercise, or some of those legal and regulatory work, right, which has to be done on a paper or at the branches, right? The most of the staff is visiting or residing nearest branches. So it was very easy for them to really take care of these kind of things, Anil. But now the initially, I think banks, some of those champions we call digital champions, right? How they have brainstormed together during the initial days. I remember that starting from MD till all the top management used to review on a weekly basis. How are we doing our business? How are we engaging our employees? So that has given traction. What is that top 10 priorities we will have to work, right? So considering the ongoing business and so on. Say example, we launched video KYC during those days, or we launched Zippy, which is a straight through fixed deposit account opening process, right? With the help of our internal team, right? And that has given a traction. I do remember those calls on a weekly or rather daily basis. We used to see the progress of every of those digital channels for our customers. WhatsApp banking, how do we enhance our lead management tool for our employees, right? So that they on the call they can manage those leads. And what surprisingly, the way we had a performance or a business performance in 2019 end, and if I compare that to June, July 2020 during pandemic, it was high. And this is what we have seen the output of projects which we have gone live in the month of starting from April 2020 till now. I think it has gone at least 4 to 5 times compared to what we have done in 18 or 19. Now, what is the change? Culture change, right? Expectations change. Moreover, customer was already changed, right? We have seen customer is not visiting branches. He is looking at their Netflix or their Amazon Prime. Similarly, they want all those services on mobile. So we had launched our mobile banking app, revised version in April 2020. And it's a very good app with a better, more than 4.5 customer of experience kind of a ranking out there with much more needed services like fund transfer or bill payment or any of those self-service is available on mobility. So what has changed? Like if I really look at some of those aspects, right? We have acted upon what we had built earlier. We have built ESB, right, or API banking. We had built some of those API first ecosystems of payments. We have built some of those eKYC kind of things. So the create was done. Now we have engaged startups or ecosystem, and we acted upon to create small innovations that has driven orbit shift for a complete organization from one level to the another level. That's a transformation we have seen. So the framework which we work upon is a CEAT, like create, which we had already done, and it keeps on adding more and more things there, like enterprise service bus, omni-channel architecture, or you talk about the payment applications, consolidation application, or being a part of the ecosystem with account aggregator or UPI. Engage is engaging partner, startups, corporates, other corporate customers, and acting like whatever we have built, create a lot of innovations around that. Like I said, video KYC, creation of remittance app, WhatsApp banking. I can't names. There are so many things which we have done in that time, and it is really helped transforming people, transforming our processes, and agility. Like now, people are so confident they can take up any projects and say, "This is our target. Let's do it." So I think that's a very massive thing which we have seen at least in a DCB bank during these days. So if you ask your question again, I think the level of organization is increased from one orbit to another.
Great to hear that, Prasanna, especially the create, engage, and agility part of it, and how you've actually evolved from one level to the other. But you mentioned an interesting aspect about video KYC. So I think banks had to kind of do that so that they could actually bring onboard more customers in an easier manner, since it was not possible to do physical face-to-face based KYC. So now, has video really become crucial for banks now moving forward, now that things are returning to normal?
Yes, I think say example earlier, like a business model where my staff is to visit my customer and collection of the document. For collecting document, travel down, meet him, greet him, talk to him, engage a 31 hour with him, collect the document, come back, do the data entry. Like it's a huge operation for one customer. Today, one video KYC, although with some capex kind of investment onto video KYC and their integration to some of the apps like Zippy or maybe some of the fintechs that we are doing, it takes not more than 10 to 15 minutes based upon the bandwidth, based upon the entire interaction which is happening. With the initial eKYC on a customer, that data get transferred onto the video KYC engine over a secure network, and your personal data, your video eKYC data is available. On top of that, we ask those photographs or PAN on Aadhaar, and ultimately post concurrent edit. We treat it as a KYC is done. And at the end of the day or immediate, based upon the kind of implementation, we update KYC flags back into the core banking, or take out those videos from the cloud-based solution to the on-prem, right? So it takes not much time. If you compare, sometimes to do a KYC interaction, it takes 1 or 2 days, right? Just imagine how many customers we have in the Indian banking ecosystem, how many banks, that much savings we have done through video KYC. So ultimately, video KYC is something which is gonna be the future, at least for a few years. We'll treat it as a KYC. There are a lot of other technologies which are coming. We'll say video KYC is also not needed. It will be a dynamic KYC, which will be with the customer, will be treated as a KYC. But that's a future, Anil. But at this moment, not only in banking, telecoms, some of the NBFCs and many other companies are treating as a video KYC as a channel, insurance companies and so on. Yeah.
Oh yeah, great to hear. And absolutely.
One more aspect just to support. Recently, one of the innovations which IDRBT has come to us, like IDRBT keep on engaging security professionals from every bank, CISO, right? And one of the things which we had proposed is, why can't we create a secure KYC of video KYC on blockchain? So from there on, that with that ideation, it has gone to IIT Bhilai, it has gone to CDAX and METI. Now METI is willing to perform that kind of a POC pilot with the help of 10 plus banks. So now imagine what we have achieved with the video KYC, saving a lot of INRs. Similarly, we will save as a consolidation system for a KYC, like we have UPI for payments. Just imagine, although we have CKYC by Sarsai, or we have eKYC kind of engine ready on those railroads with the help of DigiLocker. Imagine one KYC is done with one bank, can be reutilized by other bank with some incentivization fees, right? That's the next level of a thing which I am looking forward, Anil. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's good to hear out how the innovation is going to move forward beyond video KYC and, bringing in blockchain and other technologies to be able to do, this video KYC and enhancing it further. That's on the customer side of things, being able to kind of innovate with the customers. When it comes to internal customers, how has this really changed, how your bank's employees really interact with each other? For example, should, God forbid, a similar situation occurs in the future, what is really being done to ensure undisrupted collaboration between employees?
I think a great question. I just imagine this situation would have appeared in 2002 or 2003, right? Where we were just riding on some dabba phones or some feature phones, right? With no internet, even though internet was there, the bandwidth was not at all that great, right? For any of those business model which we see 18 years before, how we were operating our banking or any of those banking services. Now today, I think what has really helps is the internet, right? Blessed with Geos and Airtels, whatever work infrastructure companies and telecom companies have done. I think we are riding all those uh, all those advantages of a network. I think that's why we could survive in this pandemic situation. Similarly, other areas are required, right? Say example, infrastructure is there, or your good bandwidth is available, right? There are platforms, right? Platforms like Zoom or platforms like Microsoft Teams, or there are quite a lot of platforms which are helpful for engaging employees during the meeting, or engaging any of our partner customers, right? That has really given a traction, right? Just imagine these platforms were not ready during this time. So automatically, out of innovation need, we could have built, right? So the maturity would have not been there, right? I have seen some of the startups have created similar kind of platform. Even I think if you see, look at Geo also launched their platform during this pandemic time, right? So this kind of a platform has been launched on time. If you look at video KYC, or if you talk about remittance, if you talk about a customer experience on the front office, many banks, or even at a DC bank, we created those platform, ready platform for a external customer. So it becomes our responsibility. How do we deal with our internal employees also? So we have our own platforms, although there are telecom lines available. So Microsoft Teams adoption or Outlook 365 adoption, which we have done during pandemic, right? So that's one of the best thing which has happened for most of the DCBNs. So just imagine, right? There are a lot of things we can do on the Microsoft Teams, interactions, fun meetings, day-to-day meetings. Our day starts with the day-to-day meetings. What is our target of the day? With all the team, my team members work, talking together. And during the day or during the week, we have fixed calendars, right? For all of these meetings. I think having those platforms in our life has given a lot of attraction. Now on the contact center side, or employees who were visiting on the field, so we have created some of the digital first apps so that they can call to customers, talk to them, and get those leads or potential customer leads and convert them to the actual customer. Contact center had an opportunity to interact with the WhatsApp to the customers, right? So customer can send a free flowing text, or work on some of those predefined algorithms for services like balance inquiry, or fund transfer, or some kind of self-service kind of checkbook request. So those things were available on the, and this has made happen only during last 18 months, right? So now there are other things which may not be the pure play on a platform, but one of the most important unit who has played a major role in the employee engagement is human resource, right? Somebody who is visiting in the office, you can always greet him, you can always wish him for his anniversary, or wish him for a birthdays. But I think HR has given or made a lot of efforts on employee engagement with some kind of a learning experiences, reskilling exercises, right? Or even talking to those every employee, how are they feeling? Are they facing any challenges? Providing them insurances during the COVID on time, providing them medical services on time, talking with them on a regularly basis. I think that has given a lot of care as a family to the employees. Because what happens, as a discipline, you can work for 8 or maybe 5 to 6 hours, right? But on top of that, if somebody is very disciplined, he will work for most of them. That's how we have seen, right? So somebody is giving 5 to 6 hours a day. It's more than enough during this pandemic time. Some of the organizations I have seen that they have completely made it work from home. It is they've been given a KRA and they have to work upon those KRA throughout the life, right? Throughout the year. And wherever the review is happening in person or on the call, employees should be available. I think these reskilling exercises, employee engagements, or talking as a family with the employees has given a comfort to the employees to do more for the bank or more for the organization. So platforms are there, technology is there, but human touch or some kind of human engagement, employee engagement made a lot of difference during this period. Yeah, Anil.
Great. Yeah, you're right. I mean, platforms and technologies is on one side, which obviously becomes important, but HR's role becomes equally critical to be able to really enable them to interact with each other. Absolutely. So glad you shared that. When it comes to the bank's support and development teams, the ones who are actually offering customer support and the ones who are actually doing all the innovative work and doing all the development that you talked about, what collaboration technologies become important for them? Because they need it at the they need it the most at these kind of times where customers want speedy resolution to the query. Somebody is facing a problem on digital banking, they face an issue, they can't transact, they immediately want a solution to that problem. They immediately go to the, so that's where interaction is required between support team and development team. So what becomes, how do you do that? Because they can't sit in one place to do it, they'll have to be in multiple places. So how does that?
Yes, very right question, Anil. I think it has a lot of answers for this. Okay. The way we look at our customer, right? Customer is a king everywhere, right? And we follow some of the things called as a ESQ, which is a one thing. ESQ stands for empathy, speed, and quality, right? Suppose some customer is coming to me as a asking some service or asking some complaint, right? So I had to show empathy to him, followed by I had to keep a speed to resolution of that query. And it should be quality resolution. It shouldn't say that, yeah, we have easily resolved and now you please take care of yourself. No, until end customer says, I am satisfied. That's our customer service theme. And customer could be my internal customer, somebody sitting just beside me, or customer could be my external customer doing transaction on mobility, branches, ATM, and so on. So I think we have equipped our customer care with the laptops and much more needed services, right? From day one, right? That's how we are really taken care of every customers. Another beauty of a customer experience at a DCB is that the call doesn't go on IVR, although it goes on IVR for initial language selection. Call immediately lands up onto the customer service agent's phone, right? So that's another beauty. You don't have to wait for those ringing tone for 2, 3, 4, 5 minutes. Within a 20 seconds or 30 seconds, somebody will pick up the call and talk to you. Earlier it was 24/7. Then we limited to the 8 to 8. That's how we are really taken care of this. Now, while we are handling these operations with human beings, right? So now we always say, right, necessity is a mother of a lot of innovations. If it is need, automatically we think of a lot of ideas and bring on. So there are some operations wherein customer or other internal customer or employees used to do user creation, user deletion, some of those back office operations at data center, right? We identified top processes and we automated them with the help of a robotic process automation, where you don't need employee out there. We can reutilize or reskill those employees for some other task, and we can really, those repetitive tasks can be taken care of with the help of those bots. This is what we have seen. Another area where monitoring of the applications, right? Earlier it was a human-based monitoring. We have incorporated organic monitoring of mobile banking, internet banking, or key applications. If some function is down or something, immediately trigger it to the IT team or a support team, and immediately they can act 24/7. Moreover, we are adding one more angle to that, is called as AI ops, right? AI ops is like artificial intelligence operations wherein from customer phone or a customer channel till backend, wherever transaction is going down, immediately pop-up will come where it actually gone down, right? Accordingly, you can immediately act upon that area. This is one of the innovations which we have done. wherein we can really serve the customers. Before customer talk to the contact center, we know what could be the issue. For employees who were working at data center, or employees who were working as DBAs or system administrations, so we have provided some of the laptops. Apart from that, secure login protocol, secure login systems, where we know we record whatever operations they are working on. I think it's a RBI guideline also, or a compliance also, that we have to really see how and how a particular user is really behaving on the production system. So this kind of a innovation, this kind of a adoption we have done. Monitoring of the systems which I have spoken on here. Similarly, how can we have implemented some of the things. Then considering load on the branches, increasing load on the branches or a network, we have adopted a second level infrastructure, right? Or we had another near DR recently for a DCB bank. So and the traction, the way we have adopted more number of transactions, right? Security, compliance and security has rather, it was a lot of challenging time for a security guy, right? Opening up those ports, somebody sitting at home, opening up those applications, working from home, data security, lot of challenges we are riding. And in a nutshell, I think the teams who are from a security, compliance, regulation, they have done 100% whatever they wanted to do, right? And so far so good. We are really can say that it's really happening in a very good way. I think that's how we have seen. Although we have made employees various types, contact center or data center or support staff, operations, wherever some kind of a platform is required for them on a digital first way, we have provided them. And wherever there is a repetitive work, repetitive operations, we made sure that it comes under automation COE. Automation, we have a COE, Center of Excellence on around automation. That unit keeps on automating on a regularly basis, keeps on revisiting whatever they are automated, whether it has a room for re-automation. So that has given an actual transformational journey, Anil, during this time. Yeah.
Great. I think really nice to hear all the transformation that has been done at DCB Bank, especially the part where customer calls up and they are not led to an IVR menu, but actually get to talk to somebody. I think that's very, very critical in this time, because they actually would prefer to talk to somebody to resolve the query. IVR has its own merits, but I think it's important to be able to talk to somebody, and glad to know that you've kind of taken that initiative and put in automation and bots in places where it should be, and being proactively watching what's happening. Keeping all this in mind, basically what's happening is, of course, that you've done a lot of innovation in the digital banking space, which clearly means that it's definitely the way forward for the banking sector. But now we are already people are getting back to the physical world. So moving forward, what do you think changes will be permanent, and what do you think is temporary?
Now it all depends upon type of organization, right? Like the fintech companies who are always a work from home mode or a digital first mode. For them, it makes sense to work from work from home or offices based upon the type of roles they have. If you talk about cooperative bank, they will always work from office itself, right? Cooperative banks or small banks. Similarly, at a DCB, what I could see is like a hybrid kind of a model, right? Moreover, we have now achieved the way work from anywhere, right? Say example, some of my team members as of now, they're working from across various areas of India. Somebody in Kanpur, somebody is in various parts of Maharashtra, right? That's how we have seen. And moreover, we are creating decentralized development center, right? Although earlier we were operating from only Mumbai kind of locations, we look at this opportunity could be like working from Hyderabad or working from Chennai or Bangalore. So we have a decentralized environment from the development perspective. Although we are creating a lot of offices based upon a business traction, right? That keeps on happening in every bank. But on a technology side, we are saying, how can we really operate decentralized? There should not be a way that if something goes wrong in Chennai, right, which we have seen in the past, right, complete operations goes on toss, right? So how we have a decentralized operations, decentralized development center. So that gives a traction. And coming back to your original question, whether it will be a ultimately work from home or work from office, I think there will be different categories, right? Some developer level or some level who can always work from home with better facilities. I think that will remain there. Some of the roles who are required to be there at offices work closely discussed together, right? They will be visiting the offices. There is a lot of infrastructure we have created, but here onwards, we will not create much of infrastructure. This is what I can see, right? Coming back, how industry is moving in the as a future of work, right? Co-working spaces, right? Just imagine 20 years before, was there any co-working space? No, right? Was there any weavers or some of those companies? That has become another business model. So startup companies or bigger companies who has created earlier infrastructure, now they are moving into the co-working spaces. It makes sense to save a lot of pie for them, and that's how I can see the current real estates will be utilized by similar kind of a stuff. And at the end, what is required is a more culture building, more creative work, more of engagement. If it can happen, work from home, I think that's how it will be for some of the companies like Google's or some of the companies that announced, right? It will be work from home forever or so on. But in Indian context, okay, Anil, it's my personal view. I think work from home is okay for some time for some of the roles, but work from office gives a lot of traction, right? Within sitting in a bay, there are suppose 20 guys sitting. You can really look at each other, the body language, what really is feeling, what he really is thinking, and is he gonna perform, not gonna perform, is he under stress, and that kind of a thing we can really see at a work from office kind of scenario. Moreover, there is an end. There is an end of a work in a work from office kind of scenario. I know that he has left from the office at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. I don't have to disturb him because he will be traveling down. But ultimately, we have to really see how young generation is looking at it, right? Because those will be tomorrow's our leaders, and they are okay with that work from anywhere. I had attended one conference, I think, a couple of years back, wherein one of the small guy, right, could be in 8th or 9th standard. He asked me, why you guys are meeting here, right? You can really do something on a Zoom or something, and you can always discuss. This was, I think, 2018. And what I am seeing as a pandemic, we already started working on those lines. So that's the view of millennials or kids. If you ask them, I think during in Maharashtra, I think there are some schools talking to the kids, right, whether or their parents or would you like to really ask your kids to come back to the schools? And most of the answers I am seeing from my surrounding neighbors is that no, we are okay, at least for this year they are okay to study from home. But in my view, the way India has a culture, right? In villages, in cities, and the kind of a culture we have, which we have seen, we require a lot of human interaction. We require a lot of emotional touch to each other. The school system, studying from school is very important for students these days. Okay, otherwise the interaction which happens in a face to face. I have visited some of my startups, fintech companies in last 30 days. It is amazing. I have a one meeting on interaction, and compared to that, I have a some face-to-face meeting. It gives a lot of lighter moments, a lot of those touching moments. We remember it forever. So most of the Indians, I'm not saying everybody, most of the Indians has this outlook, right? That is why we keep on sharing on social medias. That is why we keep on sharing our memories. I think I still remember those days, cake cuttings together, or those days where we are celebrating success together, or doing some kind of a ceremony at the end of a year together, and awarding those guys rather than on virtual, right? So I think that is also very important thing. So it will be a hybrid model, right? And the way technology is moving, right, Anil? I think this is very important. I think in mobiles or internet was not there in 2000, and we are there in that era. That is why we are interacting this way very nicely. I am able to express my thoughts. Tomorrow's era will be 5G era. That will be complete or augmented reality era. I think our holograms will talk to each other tomorrow, right? And we'll feel like, yeah, we really met, and we shared some coffee, or these kind of a virtual experiences will be there. Because the way we created our whole life since last so many years, 100+ years, right? We are more into real things, right? As a generation, right? Tomorrow generations are more into data, virtual things. They are happy to have a YouTube session. They are happy to have on social media, or I think there are some movies who augmented reality, virtual reality. They are happy with that. Your assets who are physical assets earlier, right? Real estates or land. Tomorrow's assets gonna be the virtual assets, right? Like we keep on talking about cryptos and this and that. I think that will move a lot of shift into virtual mode. That's how I see future of work. But future of work which has a base, right? Which is the engagement, creativity. How do we collaborate? It will be always there, right? We might land up in an autonomous era, everything is happening automatically, but we will need human beings around us so that our life is will be always at peace. Yeah.
Great to hear those views, Prasanna. I think, yeah, absolutely, hybrid is the way to go. But the way technology is going to come and be a part and parcel of our lives, that depends on how the future generation really thinks. And as you rightly said, the new generation is thinking differently. So it will be interesting to see how things really evolve. Thank you so much, Prasanna, for joining us today and sharing your insights. I think it has been a pleasure to do this interaction with you.
Yeah, so last line from my end, Anil, I think I'll not be surprised, right? We have started some of those. We are in era of smart, right? Smart city or a smart phone or a smart car or a smart homes. You will certainly see in a virtual era, virtual city. Complete city will be virtual, where you will visit that city. You'll have a complete virtual houses or a virtual offices in the future. So that's the era we will see, and the way we'll do a lot of research, R&D, ICT adoption in India, and the companies will be provided with a lot of incentivization to do that. I think that's the thing. I think as a India, we should not leave that thread. Although internet adoption, we were very late, right? The whole world was adopted internet far ahead of India, right? I think adoption of a blockchain, AI, virtual, and a lot of other technologies which we see now, as a country, we should really adopt sooner and be one of those top economy in the world. Yeah. So thank you so much, Anil, for inviting me here for this such a great discussion today.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Prasanna. I think it was really great to have this discussion with you. It was very insightful, and a lot of thought-provoking points really emerged from the discussion. You shared a lot of interesting and innovative insights on, on this future of workplace. So thank you once again. So that's all we have for you today. We hope you enjoyed watching this episode of CXO Cafe and found it interesting and useful. We'll be back again soon with more interesting chats around other aspects of new workplace trends. So stay tuned. Till then, thanks for watching CXO Cafe and see you again soon.